Hi guys, Debbie Dubois here. It is time for your weekly Twin Flame and Sacred Partner reading for Sunday, June 23rd through Saturday, June 29th. Okay, so today I'm going to be using a couple of additional decks in addition to the Intuit Oracle with Bonus Trio by Aria, which is my go-to deck. I'm also going to use the Power of Surrender cards by Judith Orloff and the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards by Michelle Motuza. And that's how I'm gonna say her name. I'm not really sure if that's how it's said, but anyways. And the reason why I'm throwing in a couple of extra decks is because truly I want these readings to be as absolutely helpful as possible. This is really all about our ascension path and those of us who are focused on true sacred union are specifically motivated by loving relationships in order to complete or go through what is really an ascension process, an awakening process to our higher selves, coming into full balance with our true divinity, our true nature. And a lot of that is a healing process. A lot of it is emphasis on surrendering different patterns of imperfection. So I wanted to throw in a couple of decks. We're going to try to make these readings as helpful as possible because what I do know about this path is that it really doesn't matter what the relationship is you have with this special someone. I heard from, through the grapevine, through a friend of mine who has one of the groups that a lot of people are in on Facebook, that another teacher or something in the community had said that the twin flame energy is available for all people. And I truly do agree with that. I think that the twin flames really came in to help undo a bunch of patterns of imperfection. And now it can be kind of frustrating for some people. I hear, some people that have been through this really intense, how shall we say, I don't know, taking on the devil. No, seriously. I mean, literally taking on these patterns that have been here on our planet for millennia. And then other people are, coming in. They're really not having to do the same kind of work because the solutions or the new patterns, the new way of being, the new way of looking at things is readily available. But that's my focus here. My focus is really truly helping as many people that want to find sacred union with another person get there. Because I've had a lot of the experiences that have set that pattern. And so I'm highly, highly dedicated to that. So that's what I'm, doing here with all of you, is sharing my source connection. And first of all, we're going to look at right now what the coming week looks like for you. That's the first thing that we're going to do. And so we're going to pull a couple cards and we're going to see what comes out. Okay, so the first card we get is the key. And the second card is the cross. Okay. And the third card, the bouquet comes up again. It was one of the main overall arching energies in last week's reading as well, although I think this might have been the central card. All right. The way I read the Intuit Oracle is basically I read it in trios, with the main card being the central card, and then I read them in pairs like a Lenormand deck. And what I want to say about this is that I am by no stretch of the imagination a Lenormand card reader. You have to do a lot of research. You have to have a lot of ability to memorize things. It's a very schooled technique in reading cards, and they're usually very simple cards. The reason why I like these cards is because I don't have to do all that. For those of you who don't know, I have my own digital marketing agency. This is what I do when I'm not working. And so I don't have a lot of time to learn. That's why you don't see me doing a lot of tarot and things of that nature. I'm really going into my own source connection, my own personal knowing and experience. And, this deck works really well for me because it's just some permission slips that give me some guidance. Alrighty, so let's take a look at these energies for this week. All right, well, we're still on this path, of course, and we're feeling really dedicated to it. It is really our destiny. It is what we get up in the morning for. It is, I hate to put it this way, but it really does feel like we do this because we have to do this. It is a sense of duty that we feel we have. And that seems kind of crazy if you're thinking about love relationships, but it's because it's not about love relationships when it comes right down to it. It really is about spirituality and divine guidance from inside of ourselves. And this path creates a lot of trials and tribulations, okay? It is filled with things that aren't super comfortable. But it's why we're here from a necessity standpoint. It's necessary to go through this process. We've committed to it. It's our destiny. And so the energy is we're very committed to our spiritual destiny this week. And the good news is it does look like with the solution, with the key right here, that we'll make some really good progress. We're either going to gain some super good clarity into things that we really have been seeking for the answers to. We may unlock some answers, or get some clarity on this journey and find a solution. There's some things that happen again and again and again. And what we're really searching for in a lot of ways is solution. And what's the solution? The solution is whatever it is that will stop it from repeating over and over again, right? I mean, how many of you on this spiritual journey go through things over and over again, right? It's like this cycle that keeps coming back. Well, it's saying this week, you're likely to find some clarity in one of those things that's been happening. It's going to help you unlock and make you feel a little bit more free. There's a liberty word there. And what does that lead to? Happiness, right? I love how this card keeps coming back up in my readings, because I still say that gratitude, when I fill my heart full of gratitude, let's just try to make sure you can see that word gratitude is sitting right there. Come on, clear. There, right? That word gratitude, that bouquet of flowers, has a really big impact for me. And I'll tell you why. Because when I fill my heart with gratitude for my situation, all right, no matter what it is, I feel love flowing through me, because I'm grateful for things that, might seem more like duty or filled with trials and tribulations. But when I look at it from a different perspective, from the one of gratitude, then you start to feel this true sense of love flowing through you. It is that true sense of love that you have to have in order to love another person, right, at the level that we want to. So once again, we have this week is definitely going to be about our spiritual journey, and it is going to be about our feeling the call to duty, to really focus on ourselves within this connection. Now, we're going to look to the healing oracle, all right, and we're going to find out what is it that we are going to focus on in terms of healing. What's our focus going to be on? Okay, I'm just asking for one card from source. Just one card, please. It will help us on this path for this coming week. Okay. There we go. It's a popper. It's a jumper. Let's see what this jumper says. Ascension. You can see my camera in that reflection. It's a reflecty card. See if I can get it at the right angle so you can see the beauty of this card. Okay? It's ascension. Well, that's a shocker. So that's what we're working on. But what I'm going to do, what I like to do is for this deck, I like to look at what specifically is said. This is the number 24 card, and it's ascension. Let me read this to you. Some of those following the spiritual path have ascension as the ultimate goal. However, ascension, portrayed in art and literature, is a great leap into instant nirvana. It's actually a giant work of, well, art and fiction. Rather, ascension is the process of conscious living. We are all spiritual beings. We are all souls in a human body who are living life on this earth in order to learn and to grow at the soul's level. That is being spiritual. Whether you are conscious of it or not, you are walking towards ascension. Each experience, each relationship, obstacle, joy, and creation will bring you one step closer on the ladder to where we all end, with a greater awareness of ourselves than we started out with. This situation, at its best, is a rung on the ladder of your soul's path towards ascension. So the situation you're inquiring about, which is what is our healing emphasis this week, is about assisting you on this ladder, working at the bigger picture and knowing you are bigger than any of the issues or problems you may be having. All right, so that's really interesting. Yes, because a lot of people, we think of ascension as being arriving, but ascension is a journey. It's a journey. It's a step-by-step process. And as we walk this path, whether we are conscious of it or not, we are becoming more awake and aware, which is a beautiful thing, because we all get this pressure. Oh my God, I've got to make this happen. Things have got to move, and it's my responsibility. And it's kind of like, yes and no. Part of your journey really is just happening to you. All right, so that is something that you need to understand, is that things are just happening, which are awakening you, which you don't have to be aware of. Of course, the more aware you become, the more it seems that the process moves quicker. Well, in this path that we're talking about with the catalytic heart awakening, the ascension, this is happening through that experience you're having, see? All right, so now we're going to take a look at what do we need to surrender this week in order to get the most bang for your buck, if you want to put it that way. What is it, if you're focused on, is actually going to be the most beneficial for your healing and ascension process. So we're asking for one card, please, from Source that kind of gives us some direction. There we go, that one right there. Okay, so surrender to your full power. Okay? Surrender to your full power. There you go. And there's the lion. So, your life is calling you to step into your full power rather than playing it small. Now, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, we just read about that, didn't we? About being small. Work at a picture and know that you are bigger than any issue or problem you may have, right? So these two cards are literally coming out and telling you that with the power of your higher self and all of the step-by-step stuff that's been laid out for you, your ascension and coming into this alignment with self, it is 100% assured. All right, you have the lion by your side. You have everything that you need in your full power to move forward step by step on this ascension process. So your task, if you should choose to accept, is to literally try to see yourself as bigger. Stop seeing yourself as small. So that's going to be our focus this week, is stop seeing yourself as powerless in situations. I have a dear friend that always talks about, can you make yourself bigger than this situation? Can you pull yourself up and make yourself physically bigger than any situation that you are dealing with in any given moment? That is what the power of these two cards, in my opinion, are giving us insight into. And we're going to return to these two cards because this really is, when we talk about the overall energy, this is part of your overall energy for the coming week, the stuff that we need to know about. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, okay, all of this is soul, this is ascension. Now, this loving relationship, you're either a twin flame or twin soul, or even if you're dealing with a false twin, or if you're dealing with a karmic partner, or you're dealing with a soulmate, it does not matter. It is the catalyst that is working on your soul ascension through this step-by-step process at this time. So whoever it is for you is who we're going to be focusing on. And the first thing that we're going to find out is, what is the energy right now between you and this person? Okay, so the first card I pulled is the Child. The second card is the Magnet. And the third card is the Sun. Okay, so the energy between you right now. Well, it's pretty obvious that there's a very strong desire and attraction between the two of you. There is definitely a yearning. There's a definite yearning to unite and come together. You know, that's the Magnet. The Magnet is pulling you towards each other. It does give you that feeling of yearning. So you might be having that playing out right now, you know, and it's interesting because whether you are with that person or not, whether you're in contact with that person or not, that Magnet energy in any relationship really forces us to deal with it. If you're really longing for someone and you can't be together, then you have to deal with that. If you're longing for someone and you are together, you know, you know, it might not be in the combination you want, you also have to deal with that. So when we long for someone, it means that we have some energies that we need to deal with. All right. And it's part of the ascension process, actually. Without that longing and desire, there is no motivation to keep going on this path and deal with what you got to deal with, because you would simply be like, oh, I'll just find someone else, right? I won't think about that person anymore. I'll just put my sights on somebody else. You know, as someone who was in my younger years, I was very amorous. I loved, you know, boys, and I was always, oh, okay, well, that didn't work out. Oh, who's my next target? You know, I mean, I had that ability to easily shift. But it is that magnetic desire that makes you know that this is something other than, you know, just a run-of-the-mill relationship. It's where that emphasis comes from that drives forward the ascension process. So let's look at this other card that we're given, all right, and that's the Child. All right, so as part of this longing and everything else, it's almost like that longing is sending you back to the beginning of how you felt with this person. You know, before, while you were in your tender, you trusted. It's like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever experienced. Oh my God, this is like nothing I've ever experienced before, brand new, right? So you've brought back these feelings, but along with it can come feelings of, oh my God, it's no longer that way. And, you know, what do I do with this feeling? Well, Source is basically saying, remember that feeling, remember that connection, because that right there is the power of the sun. Because when you had that initial brand new experience, and you first felt that longing and desire, which is kind of what you might be reoccurring, now this is a general reading, so this might not be happening for all of you, but if you find yourself in that longing and desire space and wishing to go back to that, what you have to remember is tune into who you felt like. All right, what did you feel like? Did you feel like, oh wow, I can do no wrong, this person sees the highest me, I'm seeing my highest me, I'm in my own power, I feel secure and confident and loved and immortal? If you go back to that first longing and attraction, and hopefully you had the mutual, you could feel the mutual attraction, that's what it made you feel. So, what is the energy right now is basically this longing, attraction, and desire. And what you do with that, is kind of like magnify it and tune into this energy of the sun, which it's giving you a chance to go back to. What does that feel like? To feel totally encompassed with your balance and you brought in maybe the divine masculine, or maybe you brought in the divine feminine to feel balanced, but you felt successful. And I guess that's the point, that may be the key. That may be part of the key, is getting back to that state that you were in the very beginning, the innocence of the child. Let's see if we can fit all these cards up here. Now that I've put in a couple more cards for the main energies, we do have a little bit of space issue, but we will work that out. All right, so that's what we're looking at. And the energy of the sun, I think, is going to be really, really important in this. Okay. All right, so now that we've looked at what's that energy, we're going to look at what is your love interest feeling about you right now. Okay, the energy was kind of what's going on, what you're feeling. What is your feeling? Let's talk about what is the other person. What is the other person feeling about you right now? Ring. Man. So this is the person we're inquiring about, your love interest. There's no doubt about it. Wow. Huh. Okay. This is very interesting. I can only go with what the cards are giving me. And this is pretty incredible. All right. First of all, I want to say that this card right here, there's a different card in this deck, which is called engagement, or it's an engagement ring. It kind of goes hand in hand with this card. This is a slightly different card, and it's not all about, taking things. The other card is a little bit more about taking things to the next level. But this is a very significant card because, let's look at these cards now. All right, so this person, this is your love interest, very specifically, what are they feeling about you? About you. Well, on a higher level or on a 3D level, they are acknowledging the agreement that you have together to learn and grow in this whole situation. That there is a certain level of agreement between the two of you, a promise to fulfill this, what do you want to say, this process. There is a definite partnership between the two of you on a soul level that you are going to get through this process together. You've contracted it. Whoever this person is that you're focused on right now, that person, it could be something that's a long-term thing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. This might represent your love interest right now, might be a soulmate that you've met, that is just someone who is here to move you along on the step-by-step ascension path. All right. There is a definite agreement between the two of you that there is an alliance of energy, an alignment of energy to move you both forward. That's what I'm getting. It's a partnership. It's equal, that you're both getting something out of it. You know, if you're in a twin flame situation, um, and you have that deep, deep, deep soul connection and you feel like you are each other, you know, that could be stronger. You could feel a lot stronger in that alliance. It becomes emphasis. And what happens here with the raccoon is that the person, your love interest, is becoming very clever at solving whatever problems need to be solved in order to fulfill their part of the bargain. They're part of the contract. All right. So if it is, you know, union, sacred union, they're working on whatever it is that needs to be done to bring this to fruition. They're being very resourceful. They're being very creative in their problem solving. Or if it's just to move the process along, you know, bring the process along to, as far as this a partnership and agreement, they're working on their problems. They're working on their situation. Whatever's holding them back, they on their path, because that's all part of this. We're all working on our paths. They're being very creative. They're being very resourceful, and they're adapting. They're really digging in, and I just want to say they're polishing their apple. I don't know why, but that comes to my head. So maybe that means something for someone, because I keep saying this apple being polished. You know, they're polishing their apple. They're being very resourceful. And maybe some of them are being very entrepreneurial. You know, maybe they are. Maybe they're literally literally going into their storehouse of ideas to what they can do to become independent. They're becoming very resourceful. So anyways, I really like those cards. This is what the love interest is feeling about you right now. All right. So what does your love interest need from you right now? What do they need from you right now? The first card is a trophy. Gosh, I have got a lot of gunk in my throat. Sorry about that. I don't know what it is. I think it's this weather. The scythe. That's interesting. Huh. And the phoenix. All right. This is what they need from you right now. All right, well, the scythe is all about release, and it is about liberation, and it's usually something that's quick and fast. Obviously, in the situation, it really doesn't have anything to do. We're asking, what do they need from you right now? They definitely don't need you to have an accident or anything. We're not talking about that kind of stuff, but we are talking about, what do they really, really want from you? They really, really want you to release whatever it is you're working on. You know, they want you to release it and liberate. And the reason why is because your victory is their victory. Okay? Your victory is their victory. So if you go ahead and you're doing your work, your ascension work, and you're growing into your higher self, right? You're growing into this, I'm bigger than life. You know, taking every step needed along the way on this ascension card. And you're able to release quickly and liberate. That's success for them as well. It is part of this agreement. It's part of the agreement that you have, is that both people will do their part, that they will play a role in each other's growth. You're committed to that. So any releasing that you can do, any, you know, I want to say focus on that. Focus on what comes up. See how quickly you can release this stuff, because that right there is your win. And what is a win for you is a win for them. And what that's doing is, that's transforming the whole connection. So we've got the death and rebirth of the phoenix, a transformation, and this card even says catalytic heart awakening. I got that term a while ago for what the twin flame phenomenon really is. It's a catalytic heart awakening. Something catalyzes, right, this renewal. And it usually does happen very suddenly, but that's the process itself. It starts with real sudden. But everything that we do that releases us as quickly as possible, that helps so much in this transformation process. It helps so much in us getting to this ultimate awakening. It speeds that process. So what do they want from you? They want you. This is what they need from you. They need from you to continue your growth process and be sure to let go of any, energies that are still sitting there. All right, so let's put these over here. All right, so what should you focus on in order to have a better connection? These cards are getting kind of messy over here. Let's see. The birds. We have this in last card reading too. The dolphins. And let's look. New beginnings. It's interesting because I was going to say the second I saw, well, actually, the second I saw the cards here with the sun being the secret, and all right, I want to just sort of tie these cards in. I'm going to pull these cards over. Hang on. All right. As soon as I saw these cards, they are so aligned with what you can be doing. Actually, all these cards are completely aligning with one major message, and that is to go back to that place where you are in that fifth dimensional state of being to the best of your ability. In other words, allow the what do you want to say? Allow this magnet energy. If you're feeling that pull and you're feeling that, oh, I feel that way that I used to feel, right? Use that energy to drive you back into that place instead of letting it drag you back into a place where you're miserable because, oh my God, I don't have that anymore. This is trying to teach you to stay in that energy, to stay in that place, because that right there is the energy of the dolphins. All right. When you first connected with this person, you probably felt that peace and harmony, that playfulness, the joy, feeling like you're in cooperation with the person. You weren't thinking at all. There was nothing to think about. It was one big heart opening, and there was constant communication and chatter and connection. Either, it could have been just on the fifth dimensional level, or it was actually in your experience, in your physical experience. All right. What happens? This takes us once again back to that child energy, the new beginnings, that desire for, like, I want to say sexual energy, fertility, the wanting to unite with that person. It's all about this being in a playful place, in a place of peace and harmony, and I want to say not doing the old templated energy as, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this desire and this longing, and now I'm going to look for every block that I can think of that's going to make me miserable that I don't have what I had. We've come a long way, baby. A lot of this energy has shifted so much that if you can get yourself in, use that longing, desire energy to become that I want to say that fifth dimensional vibrational match of the dolphins, right? That will encourage more communication, more discussions, more text, phone calls, and all of that good stuff, more talking, even if, if you're not in connection, it could be even on the higher levels with the, when you hear the person talking to you or whatever, it can increase that when you stay in that place of peace and harmony. And of course, that leads to new beginnings. I am going to put these cards right over here with these cards because they really, really go together. And I think that I am going to see if this will work. Surrendering, putting that card up here. Let me see if I've got another thing that I can, see if I can prop up this other card. Hang on a second. I want these cards here, but I want to make sure that these cards, because we read these cards all together, and these 6 cards are really indicative of what needs to happen right now. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take quartz, and I'm going to amplify right on the dolphin. I'm not even going, I'm going to say, let's amplify this, the magnet and the dolphin. Let it be reminders to us that the energy that we need to stay in, this is what they're asking for us to do. This is what we need to do. This is part of our agreement, right? Part of our agreement with our higher self. The higher self. The love interest. That person is a reflection of you at this time. They're here to show you who you are. And they're helping you work on this, the transformation. All right, so let's do this. Let's look at now. Let's find out what your love interest is dealing with right now. All right, I'm going to scoop these babies back up. I'm trying to actually come up with a way to not take up so much room on the table with these cards that I can't, spread cards out and pair cards up and move things around, which I was having a little problem with before. So we're looking at, what is your love interest dealing with this week? Okay, they're dealing with dogma. They're dealing with their own situations. They're dealing with their own family values. They're dealing with their own marital situations if they're in a marriage. This is the tradition. This is the patriarchal, masculine energy. So they're dealing with their fundamental dogma belief systems. That's one of the things that they're dealing with. Let's look at another card here. But they also, it's funny, they've got some leftover of this full moon energy, the Sagittarius full moon from a couple of days ago. They are still, feeling a bit dreamy about their connection with you. And here's another transformation card. Okay. All right, so they're probably feeling, I want to say the moon for them is probably the magnet. It represents the magnet in this. What makes people shift and change? And when I think of religion, I think of all this stuff as being programmed. We're programmed through our family, the way a relationship's supposed to be. And your beloved is dealing with their family stuff. They're dealing with their programmed belief systems. They're still kind of struggling with this. But, don't underestimate the power of a moon or that magnet. Because what helps people make new choices or decide that a belief system is no longer resonating with them? When there is a pull, or there is a draw, or there is that dreamy, romantic, sensual energy that's still, outside of these principles, But still, to this day, I try to figure out, we hear about the times of the kings and the queens and, the old days, where people, got married for financial reasons, for, power positions. And yet you would hear of them having these longing, romantic, dreamy kind of connections with someone else. And yet they never seem to falter from this. Yep, that's just the way it is. You're just going to stay. You're just going to stay into this dogma, and you're going to go and have this dreamy romantic connection elsewhere. Well, it's interesting because the ascension process is making it more and more difficult for us to stay into our programmed ways of being, because it's not being true to yourself. It's being true to the structure of a society that's trying to make you into what it wants you to be. And it does it through economics. It does it through the old, it's like who you marry and what duties and responsibilities. I'll tell you, a lot of it was all around taxation. A lot of it was all around, creating these little subunits, business property. There's so many reasons why all of those were established. But you've got this moon, dreamy, intuitive, magnet energy that's working on that person. They're dealing with that this week. They're feeling this. They're feeling that pull. They're feeling that divine feminine, especially if you are focused on that sun energy, especially if you are going back to the dolphin, right? If you're going back to the new beginnings, if you are allowing yourself and you have developed yourself strongly enough to move into that place where you're back to that space, they're feeling that. And that is challenging. Their dogma, their religion, their traditional marriage, their programming, okay? And it's affecting the collective consciousness. That is what I'm getting. That's what this card here, the Ascension, is talking about. Is that it's a step-by-step process that you don't have to control. It's being done. Right? It's being done for you. And I can see I've got some sunlight coming in. We've got some really blue energy here. The sun is trying to make its way into this reading. I've got as many places to block like the natural light because it would white out this whole table in blue. So, but there's that sun energy. It wants to make its way into this reading. It's making itself felt right here. I just want to lay out in the sun. I think I'm going to end up doing that too. But anyway, so we've got this moon energy, that magnet energy, that energy that you're amplifying. You're amplifying that dolphin energy, right? And guess what? It adds up to this card for them as well. Transformation and change. So when we said, what is it that they really, let's see, what's the energy going on? This is that they're getting the benefit of that transformation as you make your transformation. And they're still being called, right? They're still being called to deal with their own stuff. This is not all on you. The universe is dealing them the same step-by-step cards, okay? Some of them may have to start doing this, making themselves bigger, surrendering to their full power, okay, in order to get there. But yeah, that is what they're dealing with this week. And they are restless for change. They do not like this energy. They do not like it. They just don't know how to do anything about it. This is a heavy, heavy program. Our society is based on men, women that are the leaders of their families, of their, tribes or whatever, sticking with the tradition and the dogma. It's the foundation of society as it's been known. And now we're going through a transformational change. And we, those of us who are divine feminine, or, I say that, I'm very heavily divine masculine, but I want to say women have not even got it as bad as men do, because men are more heavily programmed. They were the warriors that were called out to battle for religion, for their tribes. They've been the foundation of this tribal kind of unit of living, right? This is all undergoing change right now. So if you're frustrated at a person that's fighting these very rigid principles, this very in-depth programming, this is probably the biggest shift and change that needs to happen in order for true sacred union to really, really come into play. Because as long as that patriarchal, this is your duty, this is what you do, this is how you're supposed to be, stays in place, the less likely they'll transform into what is best for them. Because right now they believe that what's best for, their traditional programming is best for them. They think that. And this is requiring a great, great deal of restlessness. So they're dealing with that. They're dealing with that desire for change. They're fantasizing about what life would be like if it wasn't like this. They're fantasizing about that transformation. What would it be? And this can be on a conscious level, or it could be on a subconscious level. They might just be dreaming about stuff like that. They might be having dreams about you. They might not deal with it on a conscious level, but they might be dreaming about it. All right. So let's look at, what does your higher self want you to know for the coming week? All right. Let's see. Okay. The fox. The crow. This is my gulp. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this means. And the stars. All right, this may take me a minute because I didn't have anything just jump out at me. All right, what does Source want us to know for the coming week? Okay, well, the playful energy is what jumps out at me from this card, okay? I want to say that the crow has intuition and they just know things, all right? So be like the crow. Know that deep down inside that you have the answers in your memory. You have the answers to all of these things that come up to you. There are times when you may be tricked into feeling certain ways, but it's that playful energy that I believe Source is calling on, that to stay in a basic playful place. And I want to say cocky only in the sense of, cocky only in the sense of knowing, okay? You've got to know inside yourself. You've got to know inside yourself by surrendering to that full power. You've got to know that there's a step-by-step process that you're going through right now that is part of this plan, and that there's a piece of you that knows everything that's going on here. And you can almost be a little cocky in your knowing that I know that these things are all happening for a reason, and I can be playful with it. I don't need to be so serious about it. All right, now let's see how this goes with the fox. This is stumping me just a little bit. I might have to ask for a clarifier. Because I'm getting, I'm not so sure that this is about the other person. Like, you could read these cards any way you want to. Someone might read these as to, well, be careful because the interactions you could be having with others right now could be insincere. There could be some things that are working against you. Maybe and this doesn't have to be your love interest. Because remember, we are talking about, well, we're focused on a love reading, but we're also looking at the higher self wants you to know. Well, the higher self could be asking you, to be on the lookout for certain things that have nothing to do with relationships. So I think I'm going to definitely pull a clarifier on this one because I'm not really sure what the fox is. I can say that, we do have a star here, stars, which is about falling in love. It's about having your wishes granted. It is about achieving your ultimate. This kind of goes along with the bouquet and finding the key. I'm going to pull another card, And I'm going to ask, let me see, what's the right question? I would say the right question would be, in what way is this trickster, insincere self-interest? Just clarify for me what exactly that card means. Okay, so we got the mortar pestle. I'm going to do another 3-card pulling for this. We've got the archer. And we got Neptune, which is the hanged man. Okay. All right, so we're asking specifically about this fox card. Okay, well, this does seem to be a general information that's coming through for me. Like, that's the way I feel about it. The archer requires you to be very precise and be very direct and to take careful aim. That this particular, whatever's coming up, there might be someone that's coming up that is looking out for their own best interests. Okay? If they're looking out for their own best interests, you have to be aware of that. Okay, so in other words, you need to take careful aim on that situation, and you need to, I want to say almost call it out quickly. Focus on it, take careful aim. But this mortar pestle is like, make something out of it. Make something different out of it. In other words, whatever's motivating this person to do these things, to be a little bit insincere or a little deceptive, crafty behind your back kind of thing, whatever's making that do that, you need to address it. Okay? You need to address that. Carefully address that. Go right for it. Aim for it. Take target and move on it. And make it something else. Maybe by opening up conversations, allowing the crow in you to tell you what the situation's for. What is it about? What needs to happen? You've got this locked away in your memory. All right? And then if we look at, the ultimate card is that, wish granted. There you go. You might uncover and actually move this path along much better. It's a blessing. So whatever the situation is that could be happening or coming, it is ultimately for creating miracles. And miracles really are just a collapse in time. The collapse of time. So something that might continue for a long period of time, if you take careful aim and you look to, I want to say, transform it. Make something else out of it. Alchemize it. Alchemize this. You may clear up some really yucky energy and get away from this hanged man, which is almost like, if you're not addressing it and you're not taking a look at that trickster energy, you're kind of just sort of living in an illusion, right? You're living in fantasy. You're going to really want to take a look at this fox. Deal with it. Okay, deal with it. Make it something else. Use your inner knowing. Be playful about it. Just because that person's being a little bit dishonest or deceitful, be playful about it. There are times when we're all that way to try to protect ourselves or the people that we care about. And then you end up with that wonderful stars energy of your wishes granted. You're at peace. You're blessed. Everything is miraculous. All right. Now, want to take another possibility here is if this is you. Are you being insincere somewhere? Are you working in your own self-interest? Because remember, things are reflecting in our realities what we ourselves are doing or we are judging against. It's not always what we're doing, but it's what we judge against. So, are we judging someone as being insincere? Are we judging someone as having their own interest? Are we doing that? So it's just a topic to explore. Higher self has kind of given us this, dealing with insincerity, dealing with self-interest. And it can be tackled from a bunch of different ways. It can happen through a bunch of different homework assignments. I always like to call this stuff homework assignments. These tasks that we have to deal with. They're just homework assignments. Sometimes it's you being that person. Sometimes it's your reflection of what you judge against. And sometimes it's just the other person. Sometimes it's just us. But the message is pretty much the same. No matter what it is, address it and deal with it. Create something else out of it. Use your hidden knowledge, the things that you know about things, to move that situation forward. And that will get you out of the disillusionment, the fantasy land belief. And it's going to move you forward, and it's going to end up giving you what you want. We're going to put this all across here. Da, da, da. There's this. There's this. We have this, this, and this. Okay. So I'm just going to look real quickly, and I'm going to give this an overall look. I like to see what all the cards are saying here. Okay, so in summary, basically, your continued path of spirituality through this committed relationship is continuing to move forward step by step. Or is it? Oh, step by step. And you'll be working on staying surrendered to your bigger self instead of playing it small. What that does is that is a focused energy. All right, the focused energy is right here with this magnetic energy you're feeling towards the person, amplifying that way you first felt, right? The way you first felt in connection with this person. You can see there's like really sun glare on most everything here. Hang on, I'm just gonna tip this card up so we can see it better without as much glare. All right, so by amplifying that really, really positive, good energy, we are finding the key and the solution to being in a happy spiritual path resonance, all right? This creates a lot more opportunities for communication, either psychically or in actual reality. And I like to think this is actual reality because we're talking about texts, phone calls, things of that nature. While the sacred partner or your love interest is really dealing with his own programming. But all of that energy that you're creating through staying aligned, and this is our hopes is to amplify this, right? Amplify this. Gosh, there's a piece of me that's wanting to take this chrysocolla and put it on the church. And I don't know if I'm really not super like, oh, no. All right, no. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the smoky quartz on here. This is a major area that needs to be cleared for the beloved. Okay, that needs clearing because that really is stopping. And I say stopping, it's all a step-by-step process, but it is getting in the way of, the transformation. It's what that person's working on. So we're just giving them a little bit of boost. All right, we're also going to amplify, let me see here, not amplify, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a little bit of the rose quartz here next to the harmony and the love, with the gratitude being, the heart stone, if you will, the heart stone. I don't know if this will stand up or not, probably not. Oh, look at that, it did. I tried to stand those things up so many times and they did bloop, fall over. It goes back to the love and the gratitude, that actually it's all about you focusing on your keeping that vibration, using the longing and desire, stay in that space, that intensifies the moon, helps them clarify and get clear some of this patriarchal crap, to bring about the transformation. And the work that you need to do is, if stuff comes up suddenly, release, 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 don't hang on to it, and these things come up, and that's the victory. It's a victory for you and the other person, so keep that in mind. And then the summary of, what you need to look out for, I think we pretty much went over that pretty clearly. Make sure that you're on the lookout for this insincere energy, either in yourself or in others, and work your way through that by addressing it, creating something else out of it, and you will see it dissolve. All right. Last but not least, I do like to pull an Ascended MasterCard. Ascended MasterCard. It sounded like it's a MasterCard. Oh, look what card is on the bottom. That's so funny. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards in. All right. Let's see if the Ascended Master just jumped right out at us. This is, I want to say, Hina. And this is the Freedom card. Okay. This is my absolute goal for me personally in the catalytic heart awakening path. Freedom, to be in connection without being trapped by all of the negative feelings that could be associated with a connection. Relationships in the old templated model often are surrounded by feelings of resentment, anger, jealousy, rage, distrust, feeling unworthy. Relationships in the old pattern, since they're based on codependence, makes it impossible for you to experience what it is like to be your true authentic self, which is your own free being. And what this overall reading is saying, your freedom lies in the dolphin energy. The peace and the harmony that comes from within yourself. The fact that you don't need to think about this. You are free. You get that sun energy. And you're in a yes. You're in your power. You're in success. You're full of vigor and life. You feel childlike. You feel childlike in your freedom. In your freedom, you can easily alchemize any situation. Any situation that comes up, you can make it what you want it to be. You're creating your own reality. You experience your victories. Right? You are the phoenix. You are transformed. You've had a complete renewal. And when you're able to do that, really able to experience partnership with that special someone, that person. Because there's nothing holding you back from it. You're not afraid of it. There's not emotions that you're going to have that you don't prefer. You actually feel completely renewed when you realize that there's no feelings of jealousy. There's no feelings of resentment and anger. You're only feeling partnership. You have a closure of all of those patterns of imperfection. The cycles end. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I couldn't think of a better card for the Ascended Masters to bring forth than freedom. Freedom is your wishes granted. It is the energy of falling in love. And this feeling right here comes without the necessity to have a partner to feel it. Sure, if you really want a loving relationship, you're going to really succeed and have the highest quality relationship you can have. But true freedom from this process means experiencing that inner joy, all right? The inner joy. And that, my lovely friends, is what this whole thing is about. Your ascension is your freedom from the programs, freedom from the matrix of thought systems, freedom into your true connection with your higher self, freedom of your expression. Trying to think of a better way to end this reading than with the freedom card. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I was just going to say, if you like this video, please do give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so. If you press the bell, you'll get all of my readings. It's about time. We've got another week left before I do the zodiac readings for all the different signs. So that's coming up. And if you want to catch those, just make sure you've pressed the bell after subscribing, because then it'll come through your feed. I think I'm going to have another pick a card reading coming up very soon. Loved doing that. Want to do that again. I think the only other thing that I want to mention is that there is a Twin Flame workshop coming up in Niagara Falls, and it is it's September. I'm just going to look really quickly here at the dates of this. It would be the 27th, 28th, and 29th, and that's in Niagara Falls. It's being given by Marla Kelly, and we've also got some other fine facilitators. We're just getting together the information on it. I will be sure to make sure that that makes its round on social media, and I will put a link to it once it's created. But anyways, from this week, freedom. Just keep that in mind. Feel free. Experience as much freedom as you can. Fill yourself up with that dolphin and sun energy. Allow that magnetic feeling that you might be feeling for that person to steer you in this direction. And that is just going to make your ascension path a little smoother. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this reading. I look forward to giving you a reading again next week. And and if you want to book a session with me, there's a link to that below. So anyways, thank you so much and have a wonderful week. Namaste.